All right, greetings, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another vintage stream. I actually got a vintage donation deck list. So given that I'm prepping for Eternal Weekend tomorrow, I figured I'd sneak that to the front of the queue. Thank you very much to Michael B for donating to see some five-color humans on stream. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to start by saying a few things about vintage five-color humans, and then I want to talk about a couple of changes I made to the deck list, which may be for good or may be for bad. I made very minor adjustments. Okay, vintage five-color humans is a deck that is pretty respectable on the play and pretty questionable on the draw. It has a lot of very disruptive things that it can do, some of which are even restricted, like Chalice of the Void and Thorn of Amethyst. The issue is that once your opponent gets ahead on board, or if they're on the play and they can do their thing on turn one, you don't really get too much to stop them. And historically, that has left humans being kind of a clearly tier 2 or tier 3 option. Can you play it and win some games of Magic? Yes, absolutely. But when you compare it to the brokenness of some of the Bazaar and Workshop decks or something like PO, this deck isn't just doing anything that is on that same level of broken, and not even close. I've heard that the Humans deck has a pretty poor Shops matchup, which is potentially a rough place to be in, as that's a relatively popular deck. And similarly, I can imagine that some of the 4/4, 4/3 creatures that are coming out of the Vine lists can be problematic as well. I made two changes to the deck list. Number one, the original deck list that I got had Mana Confluence, but I'm a little bit worried about my life total against some of the Shops and Vine decks, and I was worried that Mana Confluence would actually be the difference between me living and dying in some games. So I removed those for Ancient Ziggurat. Ancient Ziggurat is not really needed to cast any of my spells. It's pretty unlikely that I won't have one other mana source for a Dismember, and the only other things that it works towards are like the Chalice of the Void and the Thorn of Amethyst. And Chalice is going to go on 0 when I'm on the play anyway. So I think it's okay to play Ancient Ziggurat. I will get punished by a Tabernacle for that choice, potentially. Um, Number two. Well, I guess I made three changes. Number two, I wanted more Containment Priests in the main. I've been seeing a lot of Vine lists in the league. They're very powerful, very straightforward, and they're probably a good choice for someone who hasn't played a lot of Vintage, because you can just like, haha, 2/4/4s turn one. So I wanted more Containment Priests in the main. The original list had two. I bumped it up to four. I think I cut a Palace Jailer from the main deck and moved a Manic Vandal to the sideboard to fit those in. And number three, I thought the list was a little land light. The list had 18 lands, and I'm just going to pull up another deck list real quick that I saw on Twitter. Where's Eddie's Twitter? I did a quick comparison to Eddie's list, which obviously is a little bit different, but he had 21 lands also with Once Upon a Times and Noble Hierarchs, and that made me think that maybe this deck was too land light. So I added in two Silent Clearings as like cycling lands, and this also helps to make up for the fact that I'm trying Ancient Ziggurat over Mana Confluence for specifically Chalice of the Void and Thorn of Amethyst. The sideboard is very pointed, as vintage sideboards usually are. I have Graveyard Hate, I have some Combo Hate, I have some Hate for Shops, and then a few, well, specifically five more flexible cards that can be boarded in various places. Is it Staticaster can be really good against things like Young Pyromancer or Monastery Mentor that are threatening to go wide of what you're doing. With that said, let's just go ahead and jump into a league and have some fun. No, not Vintage Tournament Practice. Vintage League, Vintage Humans. Let's go. I think this is the least powerful Vintage deck that I've probably played this week, at least on paper. We'll see how it plays out in practice. I have an insane Vintage track record right now. It's early in the morning and I don't want to think about it. But my Vintage record is currently 17-3. So things have been going very, very well for me. I hope I can get matches. Okay, there we go. Jankophile, I think so, but I'm not like locked in. All right. My opponent is on the play. I have a turn 1 Lavinia or Kitesail Freebooter. I also have a Containment Priest. I think I keep this hand. Against Prior... Oh, shit. The Mox Emerald doesn't cast Lavinia, which is my best generic hate bear. Shouldn't have kept this hand. It's okay. If we're playing against something like PO, Kitesail Freebooter into Gumball might be good enough. Okay. I will be taking the Oko from this hand. Fuck, can't Gumball either yet? It's fine. It's fine. Oh no. Opponent like rip another Oko right off the top. God damn it. Yep, shoot them all again this hand. I mean, we do have a Containment Priest that we're going to get to resolve versus Oath, so that's worth something. Reaple Chief, thank you very much for the continued support. It also sucks that I can't play Champion and put some counters on it this turn. I also don't know if I'm supposed to Wasteland because I can just, like, rip a land. It's white, play Rick, and crash in for a whole bunch. But let's assume that the game drags on for a little while here because, you know, Oko. I'm going to main phase this. My opponent elks it, my board gets bigger. Yeah, but conceptually I went, I have 2 mana, and stopped thinking there. Yeah, now we have a real hand. I think my plan is just to go first strike with Rick when I draw a fourth land. I actually think I'm just going to cast the Lavinia here. That'll keep my opponent from Force of Willing. Gonna keep pressure on the Oko. And then life's good when I hit land 4. Yeah, I wish I had mulliganed this hand. Ooh, man. Um, First strike, lifelink? I think first strike, lifelink. Let's guarantee just kill Oko this turn. Yeah, my opponent kept a hand that could early Oko, which is like very good by legacy standards and kind of whatever by vintage standards. They find a third Oko? They did find a third Oko. um, I can kill the Oko this turn. I'm not sure if it's correct to or not. It actually results in me losing something. And my cards are good. But it is Oko. So I can attack with Rick, and I need to do 4 other damage. I guess I could lose the Lavinia, and that's not that big of a deal. Yeah. So I'm going to do this pre-combat. I'll send this, assuming that this gets jump blocked. And this, and this, and this. If Rick is blocked, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. If Lavinia is blocked, it's lethal, and I just lose Lavinia. So my opponent's Force of Will is live. Okay, that's fair. So that attacks. Honestly, I would trade the champion for the food. The spirits can attack. Freebooter can attack. The other creatures are too valuable. My opponent shouldn't have too many things in their deck to block with. So I think once this food is off the table, I unlock a lot of damage for the future. Straight up hard cast a Runescarred Demon. My opponent has not produced double black thus far. The trigger also resolved. I'm not sure if they can still undo mana. They also might just be dead if they cast Runescarred Demon anyway. They go down to 9. They block the champion. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, presumably 12 from one more spirit. All right. Leyline doesn't stop Oath, right? The cards go into the graveyard afterwards, I believe. All right. Yeah, Leyline does not stop Oath. Cage would, though. I think I like a Jailer for creatures. I think I like a Kambal as a clock. And I think that's all I'm going to board. Honestly, most of my creatures seem fine for this. Like, the growing creatures are good against elks, for example. So I don't think I want to cut them. Lavinia is maybe not insane on the draw. But then I don't know how I'd board differently on the play instead. Maybe my Thorn is medium on the draw. Honestly, maybe the non-creatures are just worse on the draw. Kind of crazy to cut the restricted cards and just keep a bunch of bears, but I see all of my creatures playing roles in this matchup with maybe the exception of Lavinia. Maybe keep Lavinia on the draw as a creature and then reconsider Chalice and Thorn when I'm on the play. Um, Lavinia is good, but it is legendary and all, right? So like it being played in multiples isn't insane for that reason alone. Right, but you're already playing 4 Thalias, which are already legendary, and 3 Lavinias. Like, you want to make... Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. That's scary. Yes. Yes. You're just gonna Oko turn 1? You're just going to Oko turn 1. Pretty sure I can beat that. Hold up, you had a preordain, and you chose to play the Oko prior to the preordain? I don't know that I like that sequencing at all. I'm going to attack through that elk next turn, and it's going to be nice. Time Walk is a nuisance there. Notably, this is not a human anymore, so playing Thalia's Lieutenant now doesn't do me any good. Alright, I already played my land. I think I'm just going to do Containment Priest end of their turn, and then play Rick. I think I want to sandbag the Thalia's Lieutenant. What does Rick do? I think he wins games. He is a steadfast leader. Cripson, the better answer to that is you should hover over the Cardboard Live extension and take a look at his abilities. There's a lot of text there. I mean, I am down for a Rick Soldier Stompy League. No one's donated for it yet. I imagine that it will happen sometime soon. There was someone talking about funding a donation league for that purpose. Pal, thanks for letting me know. I'm not attacking with Noble Hierarch this turn, so I think I'm just going to tap this rather than take 1 damage. Ooh, right. It's as long as I control 4 or more humans, and this is currently an elk. Shoot. The first time that's come up for me. Should have played Thalia's Lieutenant this turn. Like, I saw 4 creatures, and I'm like, yep, I'm good. Those are 4 humans. That is not the case. Corrupt Decay on Containment Priest is kind of spooky. I mean, him having the text of 3/3 Elk isn't actually all that bad as of right now, to be honest. Play Noble Hierarch second? Put another counter on Thalia's Lieutenant? Or put a counter on Thalia's Lieutenant, more accurately. Actually, maybe I draw a card with Silent Clearing now. Yeah. Let's play a Thalia's Lieutenant. That's going to cost 6. Nope, no, it's not because Thalia. JK. Thalia's an elk. Now I can guaranteed kill Oko this turn. Almost humorous at this point, really. Yeah, I can always yield to that. That's fine. I need my opponent to not rip an oath. Yeah, my opponent is definitely playing Elk Tribal. They are playing like they're an Oko control deck instead of a combo deck. I think they're supposed to be playing as a combo deck because that's what kills me. Man, if I knew my opponent was going to do all of that, I would have played this Thalia out and just gotten rid of my elk. Hold on, opponent. You had a balance this whole time and didn't cast it? What? You know what that card does? How do I win? Oh, they didn't have white. Okay. That's the reason. I want that +1/+1 counter on the Thalia's lieutenant. My opponent has used Time Walk already. They have used Regrowth already, so they can't just get Time Walk back. I don't know what they can pick up here. The good news is I can realistically attack through a demon. Oh yeah, if they have a Yogwill, that does some serious work. I don't know what the RuneScarred Demon list looks like, because I've only played against, like, the traditional list and the Sun Titan list. Oh, they have a Noxious Revival, too. That targets Time Walk. Yeah, I assume that kills me. I might need to just, like, block that to not die. I don't know how many times they can Time Walk. Yeah, apologies for Rick Steadfast Leader not working via Cardboard Live. Well, I think they're testing for Eternal Weekend. I don't think they're a regular vintage player. I mean, pal, you can just like go up and copy and paste it. Hey, Bryant. Nice to see you're still awake, I presume, given the vintage start time. Oh, you dead? Brian was doing well last I checked on Twitter. I mean, 5-2 may be dead, but that's at least going to get you something back for your time. The event ended up being... Oh, there's Breach in there too? That's crazy. So now they can Breach and Time Walk yet again. Very notably, this list has a Toxic Deluge that they just showed me. That's quite good for me to know about. Alright, at this point they Time Walk again, and I'm deterministically dead from 2 extra turns. Well, 24 damage. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and concede. Yeah, looks like Time Walk is kind of their kill condition. Okay, on the play, I think I want this stuff. Maybe over the Lavinias. There's a world where I board in Leyline to stop the breach-based stuff, and like the Noxious Revival and Regrowth. But I think just getting them dead and having high threat density is better. This is a hand that would lose to an Oko too readily. I'm going to ship this one. This hand doesn't feel powerful. And Karakas doesn't bounce their Runescar Demons. They're not legendary. Yet. I think I need to keep both of these. And try to mise this game. Yeah, if they do anything, I'm in trouble. I need them to just go like land pass so I can wasteland them and strip mine them. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There is hope. There is hope. Let's draw like a fucking Thalia right now. That's not a Thalia. Also not a Thalia, but has Thalia in the name, so honorary Thalia. Opponent had a lot of land. That's super unfortunate for me. Goop, thank you very much for your continued support. That's my opponent's 5th natural land, no cantrip. I'm not mad about it. It's just an observation. Containment Priest! Damn. That should mean I'm dead. My opponent has the mana to grab a Toxic Deluge if that's something they want to do. They can just get the Time Walk now. Yeah, they just get the Time Walk now, right? Like cast Time Walk, Runescar Demon, second Runescar Demon gets one of the regrowth effects, regrowth. Yeah. Alright, I'll pack it up there. That would have been great, assuming my opponent didn't have the Oath. Yeah, we could have gone places. Yeah, Bryant, I agree with that. I don't think I talked about this in the deck tech, but I don't think that this deck is doing anything broken enough to truly be successful. I got a donation for this one. So in comparison to the other things I've been playing this week, where like you can go 3 ball on turn 1, or equivalent relatively consistently, or you can potentially make at least 4 free power on turn 1, frequently more than that. This deck doesn't feel like it's in the same league. It also feels like it has a huge play draw problem. Yeah, pal, I played Traxos in Beep Beep in Cars Shops earlier this week. I went 4-1 with that, only losing to Oath, which is expected. Traxos isn't necessarily stock. It floats in and out of deck lists. And it's super awkward if we're playing against shops and like they play a sphere. Turn 1 Containment Priest is pretty darn good if they don't make things on their turn 1. They do make things on their turn 1. I'm going to have a little bit of catch up to play. Oh! Turn 1 Hogak would be real bad. Alright, here's a hollow one. That's at least 4 power. Oh, damn. This is good. It's not quite as bad as it looks. I mean, it's bad, but I also agree that they sequenced wrong. Unless they drew some of that stuff off Bazaar. Like, if they didn't have one of either the Jet or Supplier and they drew it off the Bazaar, it's possible they didn't have that option available to them. So the game plan is get to Rick mana, use Rick for First Strike and Lifelink, and then the 4/4 doesn't matter anymore. My opponent can still just work towards more hollow ones and hard casting Vengevines and stuff like that. But by no means am I out of the woods. Something like Collector Oof that slows down my mana also would be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I'm looking to get to 4. Hell, are you rooting for the enemy? To be fair, I would root for that deck a lot of the time too. Hogak Vine is really, really fun and very powerful. I've had many a fling with Bloodghast myself. Um, Sam Black's Zombardment list from that one Star City event. Oh my god, they got Ryan Harper! Oh! Oof. Okay, so the decision this turn is, do I play a Bob or not? Bob puts some pressure on my life total, but allows me to more likely be able to play Rick sooner. I'm gonna go ahead and play a Bob. One of those, like, use my life total as a resource moments. Probably shortens the clock by 1 turn from my opponent's hollow one. I'm just gonna hold my priest back. If I win this game, I am winning by a landslide. I don't think trying to push 2 points of damage and then being attacked back for 1 is good. Please don't be an oof. pretty good. It's still absolutely fine if I hit a land. Uh, now it's less fine. Taking this hit. Caracas would be real cool. Mox Sapphire being off so that I can't play Rick this turn is kind of rough. I think I'm going to go ahead and toss in the towel here. Like a silent clearing means that I take 1 damage in order to cast a 2/2. And Kogak is so much damage, I'm going to lose multiple bodies in this turn cycle. I think I'm just donezo. Okay. Ley lines are great. Staticaster has text versus Bloodghasts and Rootwalla and probably doesn't have Memnite and also technically Stitcher, although that's awkward. This is a maybe. I don't think Chalice is insane. What about Lavinia? So this can counter asking Rootwalla for Force of Vigor. Countering Force of Vigor to protect Lightline is kind of cool. Mental Misstep is pretty narrow in terms of application. I really would like it for a Stitcher Supplier in a lot of cases, but otherwise it seems worse than a lot of what else I have going on. Ball seems slow. Kitesail Freebooter is somewhat likely to miss when it plays a lot of creatures. I'm going to try this. On the draw, I think I'll play Dismember for just random 4/4s that get in the way. Maybe cutting like some Champion of the Parish or something of that nature. This does not have mana for the Kitesail Freebooter, so it's just an aggro hand. It's an aggro hand with Caracas, but I don't think that's good enough. This is awkward. So this is a hand that has a lot of counterplay against what my opponent can do, but I have no proactive card. I would go Caracas, Champion, Mox, Noble, pitch this. I think this is acceptable, but on the questionable side. Yeah, the issue is that if I mold a leyline, they can still just like tap Bazaar, cast a hollow one or two, and I'm pretty far behind. This hand has a game plan. I'm not going to claim that the game plan. Hey, I'm not going to claim that the game plan is amazing or anything. But it's a game plan. My opponent typed conceded in shame. They must have done something stupid on their end, as far as their mulligan went. I don't know. Michael B., you are getting some comedic value out of your donation. That's for sure. On the draw, I think I like Dismember. Maybe Thorn's not good enough on the draw. Maybe a Trimathalia on the draw for similar reasoning. Iceman, thank you very much for following. Don't know what happened there. Hell yeah. So this one can go Mox, Dismember your 4/4 that you make on turn 1, then play Thalia. Alright, opponent found a Bazaar. That is what they want after this situation occurs, because Hollow One is their primary way of like aggroing without removing Leyline. Notably, I need to play Unclaimed Territory, not Ancient Ziggurat on my turn. Well, not need, but should. No, Rick is like legitimately very good. Like very, very impressive in both Legacy and Vintage. More so Legacy, but like as a Vintage finisher, it's pretty legit. Notably, with Athalia in play, we're now stopping Force of Vigor from being cast until my opponent has another land. Lol, 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 lol. I will gladly take the Ancestral Recall. Leaves them with a Deathrite and a Vengevine. Yeah, the fact that Rick can give both First Strike and Lifelink means that a deck like this one can really turn the corner against an aggressive deck like Shops or one of the Vine decks like Hollow Vine or Hogak Vine when it resolves, and make up so much lost life slash time. Great draw. No attack with Containment Priest. At this point, opponent either needs to find land and Force of Vigor, or one or multiple hollow ones. Kind of stall things out. If they find a hollow one, I can still. Now I don't know what's there. Alright, to finish the thought, if they find a hollow one, I can still attack for one in the air. That's not that big of a deal. Alright, land followed by Mox. That's pretty good. That means that these things can now represent realistic amounts of damage. Or more respectable blockers. So they can attack for 4 a turn. I'm more likely to increase my clock than they are. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack for 3 this turn. And then if they attack with both of their creatures, I attack back for 5. But unfortunately, if they just hold back both their creatures and hold up their mana, don't really get to attack for more than one until we're a little bit further in the game. But I think I'm still the aggro deck here. So this attack is pretty much free. I can't really afford to block it. Losing the Containment Priest would be very bad. Hmm. I still feel like I'm in the favored position. Like, assuming our opponent keeps the same attack pattern, they have us on a 15 turn clock, right? And I have them on a 10 turn clock. Otter Lady, thank you very much for the continued support. In addition to being too humane, I also think it's too fair. Well, they can like activate a Bazaar, find a hollow one, and that potentially changes things. Yeah, like that doubles their clock, for example. Well, it's a card. Yeah, Thalia's Lieutenant is such a hot draw. Well, that gives me a redraw at least. Oh, that's real good. That's real good. I don't think I go for this now. I think I do it on their turn, force them to activate to save all three of those, and then do it on my turn to kill all of them. Also uncounterable. Actually, I could swing in with everything, then they'll block and pump, and then I do it. That's savage. So probably correct. Probably correct. This is the greatest, this is a trap, but I don't know how moment I've probably ever seen. Gonna have to take a picture of this one for Eddie. That made the whole stream worth it. So beautiful. Man, what an is it Staticaster. We are on the scoreboard this league now. Alright. I want to check and see how Brian's doing. Brian is at 6-1 currently. This is a great hand that asks the question, can I keep an exceptionally fair hand game one versus an unknown opponent that has absolute gas in terms of card quality? I think I do. And would look pretty embarrassing against something like Shops, but has a lot of other axes covered well. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting to go 2-3 or 3-2 today would be my guess. Like, I think I'm going to be doing the less powerful thing than my opponent in a lot of rounds, but like we're still playing effects that are difficult for many opponents to beat. Fair. I'm going to be taking the Planeswalker here. Not willing to cast the Preordain and pitch the Force of Negation. Cool, because I don't care about the Force of Negation, and now I'm going to get to take the Preordain. Nice Pyroblast. We'll take Preordain. Why? I know my opponent has a card that I can take. I'm not in any hurry to win this game. Like, this game is going to drag on for a little while. I would rather disrupt my opponent early. Like, I don't want them to preordain into something crazy like a Ren and 6, a Planeswalker, more removal that, like, gets their deck fading back. Oh, sorry, I forgot to play my Containment Priest. I missed 1 point of damage there. We'll pretend I'm playing around something. Yeah, so they didn't cast the Preordain to hold up Force of Negation. So that kills Dak. And these two hit my opponent. My opponent should be at 8 life right now, but I was a dummy. It didn't matter, but, like, own up to your mistakes. Alright, so we're playing against some sort of Jeskai Xerox deck, in which case I think I like Kambal. Jailer is awkward. The sort of effect that I want, but if they go wide of me, Jailer looks pretty bad. I think I'm going to take it. I also might play Dismember, because Dreadhorde Arcanist, Monastery Mentor, those sorts of cards are spooky. That's a maybe. Alright, so this is going to stop Dreadhorde Arcanist, right? No mana was spent to cast a counter spell. Yes, it is. Containment Priest, not exactly ideal. I assume this can be my 4 for 4. I'm going to skim over and look real quick, but yeah, that seems like the plan. I don't think I go like Leyline Deep or anything to stop recursion of Ancestral. So this hand doesn't have power, but it has a relatively good set of effects for this game. I think I'm just going to reset the board, try to keep my opponent from casting a 3-mana spell such as Dak Baden. Same, but with the other wasteland now. Oh. They brain freeze and mill 3 lands after getting wastelanded twice? That's beautiful. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think I want to show Cavern this turn. My opponent just conceded. I'm lagging, so I think my opponent just conceded. Yep. Good stuff. To talk about sequencing here, we're going to play Lavinia first so that we can't get Force of Willed on... I guess it doesn't make... Well, kind of. I think Lavinia makes a lot of sense as my first play for like land count reasons on the other side of the battlefield. Then I think I play Bob if I don't draw a land and Cabal if I do draw a land. Yeah, also stops Moxen. So they can cast the Moxen, but they get countered. The wording there is whenever opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Yeah, Lavinia is a strong effect in Vintage in a vacuum, much more so than in Legacy. In Legacy, Lavinia is sometimes a good sideboard card, and I think briefly saw some main deck play during the Companion era to stop the zero-cost artifacts like the Baubles. But in Vintage, it's a much more main deckable effect. Very good against Paradoxical Outcome, for example. Yeah, Lavinia is the sort of paper that I love them printing. It's a little narrow, but when it's good, like, damn, it is good. That's how I like hate bearers to be. Like, I would love to see a couple more Thalia level hate bearers that are just like generically good because of power creep reasons. But more generally, I really like bearers like Containment Priest and Lavinia that like surgically murder whatever they are meant to be fighting. Like, I love those sorts of bears. I am just playing a league right now. I'm going to be playing in Eternal Weekend tomorrow. Brian's still live though. Let's do a quick Brian check. See if he's finished another round. I do not have another update yet. I have a misstep on the draw, a turn 2 Lavinia or Kumbal. I think I keep this. We're probably playing against Bug. I think my mana development is more important than getting a threat down. Maybe that's not true for Tarmogoyf-based reasons, though. My opponent plays Tarmogoyf, I would like to grow this early and often. It's it's so much more awkward if I just get wastelanded, though. I think I have to play the Noble Hierarch. That lets me champion and 2-drop next turn anyway. Yeah, with everyone having the god accounts, I'm seeing all sorts of art that I've never seen before on these like assorted masterpiece cards. Fuck! Ho 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 ho! Ho 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 ho! Alright, I haven't worked out what this does yet, but that's very good. Five total mana, which is going to be champ into something. Probably champ into Kambal. Bob's just gonna die to Ren in 6. We're gonna kill Ren and then play a Bob. The world where I should have played this Lotus prior to playing the champion. This would be a brutal force of will spot. God damn it, they had it all. Now I lose the champion to Ren instead of growing it. But I don't think I get to play around them having exactly force blue card. Like, I think the line that I took was correct. I think I'm okay as long as they don't have another follow-up. Because Ren will plus the 2 next turn, and then I can kill Ren. God damn it. At least Lavinia is good against that, but now I don't get to kill Ren, which means Bob doesn't get unlocked. Wastelanding them doesn't do any good in the face of Ren. Probably actively bad for me. Even like a noble hierarch would be good. Opponent, do you realize what you just did? I don't think they realize what they just did. You just killed their Ren. I take those. I absolutely take those. Ah, shit. I should have end of combat done this wasteland. Maybe I don't wasteland into Gush. Okay. Really. Now I'll take that. Man, I was so worried about this game. Um, we got lucky that opponent didn't know that interaction. This is opponents only, right? Not symmetrical. Yep. Wait, hold on. Opponent wouldn't have paid mana for Gush, right? Gush would have been countered. Oh, that's what Dr. Bill said in chat. Thank you, Dr. Bill. I figured it out. Took me a little while, but that was not something that I needed to be playing around. Nope, not gonna work. Send them. Block the Tallies, Lieutenant. Block it. Blocks. I'm gonna take that one extra damage. I don't think this deck plays a sweeper that I have to be worried about. So what am I boarding against my opponent? this technically like a Planeswalker control list? Is that what they're calling the rogue lists? Deathrite, Leovold, Armagoyf, Oko, Renin 6, Dak Faden. Tabernacle sideboard is something I need to be thinking about. I want to cut all 4 of my containment priests, so let's find 4 cards to bring in. My gut says that Leyline is not great. It does stuff. Aborting something like this might be better, where I just, like, exchange 2 bad threats for better threats, and then have ways to remove their Tarmogoyfs, Deathrites, and Leovolds that are getting in the way of my attackers. Not counting Renin 6 as an actual removal spell. My opponent probably doesn't actually have that many things that remove my creatures. No, I think Leyline is a part of the conversation for sure. But I think I err on the side of it being not quite good enough. I am very familiar with Luminarch Aspirant. This hand epitomizes, can I keep a dumb aggro hand versus this deck? I'm going to play Mox Pearl Champion, Mox Emerald, Cavernous Souls, Uncounterable Thalia's Lieutenant. Be able to cycle Silent Clearing into another thing if I don't top deck a creature. I think I keep this. There's also just like so many draws that are better than Thalia's Lieutenant to play on turn 1. Like, say, a Thalia or something of that nature, or even a Bob. I think this hand can be improved a lot. I don't think it's correct to throw back the 2 pieces of power that can also generate 2 bodies on turn 1. One of which is uncounterable and also has a redraw. This is not the most vintagey hand in the world in that it's doing something broken, but this does have things going for it. Your Sapphic Mistress, that's the way a lot of vintage decks are. So a lot of the blue decks are kind of pre-boarded for blue mirrors, and you see things like Narsets and Leovolds and Pyroblasts and things of that nature, Flusterstorms, that are for fighting other blue decks. And the same is true for the non-blue decks, in that they're often looking to fight the blue decks game 1 and then have things for like bazaar decks and shop decks in the sideboard. I deserve, since my opponent is having a difficult time with their mulligan decision. I have also seen Mare of Averbrook, pronunciation unsure, in a lot of the vintage lists, in the ones that are more green-white focused and end up playing a full play set of Horizon Canopy. in a list that looks something like this one. I don't know that I actually like Once Upon a Times in this deck list, but I don't think the mayor is crazy either. Yeah, your Sapphic Mistrix. The format is basically getting to the point where it's almost unenterable in paper for most people. Online, though, the decks are cheap, like very frequently cheaper than legacy decks. All right, you get to see what's up, opponent. How's Rick going? Rick has won me games. Rick's been very good. Yeah, that's a fine draw. I think I bob first. It gives me a better chance of being able to um, play another creature and then put a counter on that as well with Ollie's Lieutenant next turn, or even put a counter on Bob. A fatal push, a fatal push with new art. Notably, that land does not work towards casting Ren, so that's good. I like the original Fatal Push art better than that. Oh no, opponent does not have another land. Whew! Whew! Like it. We're just gonna like straight up aggro someone. Unless they have like balance and are fucking baiting me. That doesn't cast balance. Sure. Let's explore. Slightly better explore. I just have lethal damage with any creature next turn. I also have lethal damage if my opponent fetches. And I can pay for a Tabernacle. I'm not gonna get greedy. This keeps them from fetching. It keeps them from doing something like a demo tutor into something that can actually beat me. They got Ancestral, unsurprisingly. Skills? Go on. Can't think of anything that beats me here. Opponent's just conceding rather than let me cast more spells. Yep. Alright, up to a positive record. That feels good. Alright, I'm going to take 30 seconds and run to the restroom and refill my water. I will be right back. Yeah, we have a positive record with humans. Like I have already broken even for this league, and maybe we'll come out ahead. Yeah, again to reiterate, I don't think this is the most powerful thing that Vintage has to offer, but like we're absolutely stealing games. And damn, are we punishing missteps. Like when your opponent doesn't have format knowledge and you can take advantage of that, this deck feels really good. Um, like one of our opponents punted by attacking with the Dreadhorde Arcanist, thinking they would get to preordain, and I got to kill their Planeswalker as a result of that. Um, when you can do things like that, deck feels good. But I definitely feel like I would be fighting uphill versus a lot of the better decks. All right, Brian is at 6-2 and is currently praying to the Breaker Gods. He started 6-0, so he's got a chance. This one goes back, obviously. I mean, 6-2 is a good event, right? Like you're happy with a 6-2 finish on most days. Vertix 3. I'm gonna look up this opponent. No results found. I'm keeping this hand. I don't know what to throw back. I think I keep the Containment Priest on the off chance that it just wins the match instantly, and I throw back one Kite Sail Freebooter. It leaves me with a more balanced hand. Although the Kite Sail Freebooter is so much better if I'm playing against a blue deck. Olivine? Bud. Alright. Yeah. Love to draw a not pain land. Yeah. Go human here. Play Ruby. Play Sapphire. Pass. See what our pile of Manic Vandals can do for this matchup. Am I playing a basic? No? No basic. I think I'm going to take a turn to Kite Sail Freebooter. There's a chance I miss, but there's also a chance that I hit something like a Mystic Forge or Crucible of Worlds. In which case that play looks really good. Maybe this deck should have one basic. Alright, so I don't have white or black mana. We're gonna chill for a little while. This board state favors my opponent. Fuck. So once my opponent has a little bit more mana, they can start tutoring for every card in their deck with Inventor's Fair. Shit! Oh, I'm so dead. Or am I? Nope, nope, I'm so dead. I can't cast that. So I think I need to put a Bob in play to draw more cards and hopefully vomit a few more spells. So I have 3 power in play, which realistically means I'm doing 2 damage in most turn cycles because Inventor's Fair is giving them 1 back. Tabernacle GG. Tabernacle GG. I think I'm keeping both. It's possible I let the Bob go. Uh, The Kitesail Freebooter is not really attacking for damage because of Inventor's Fair. I'm probably pretty hard locked out of this game. My opponent is at 11. They do have an Ancient Tomb. Things can happen. They also haven't started doing Inventor Fair loops yet, so there's a chance they don't know about that. Oh, jeez. I think this is the point where I am comfortable conceding. I'm going to get one of my Moxen revoked, costing me both of my mana. My opponent gets to attack for 3 a turn cycle. They have Mystic Forge in play. I think we're good here. I would play this out if it were like an actual event, but this is a league. All right. Manic Vandals can get in here. And probably most of my fair-ish stuff. Maybe even Is It Staticaster to hit Revokers. That's the worst card of the things in these piles, but like I don't want to play Thorn. I don't want to play Chalice. I don't want to play Mental Misstep. Dahlia isn't exactly great. Containment Priest isn't exactly great. So I can do that and not play Is It Staticaster. That leaves me with 32 creatures. 3 ways to blow up artifacts. I think I like that. I just don't think I want to be on these cards. Like Chalice on when I'm on the play to stop their Moxen is cool and all, but I think I just want to try to kill them. I think they have inevitability, and I am very much in the aggro role. I think I keep the double wasteland hand, honestly. Notably, this could be a matchup where there's a very real difference between Mana Confluence and Ancient Ziggurat because my opponent can tutor up, what should I call it? Tabernacle. Oh, my hand's very bad now. Yikes. But opponent kept a no-lander. I have that going for me. We're going to play Wasteland over Ancient Ziggurat for Tabernacle reasons. Send them. Hopefully between these 2 creatures and Mana Crypt, I can aggro my opponent out before they, like, do something impressive. That just makes it 4/4. I can dismember. That's fine. Yeah, between Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt, and two creatures, we've got a real chance at this one. My opponent just plays another creature and I get to jailer it. I think I win. Nice. We stole that one. We absolutely stole that one. The game on the play, or sorry, the game on the draw will obviously be harder. This is the way. I think Kambal's better than a lot of the other things that are in my sideboard. Like, Kambal's better than Containment Priest. Kambal's better than Wayline, Mindbreak Trap, Misstep, Thorn, Chalice, probably Staticaster. Not having a basic here is pretty rough. Well then, my turn. It's embarrassing if they just draw a workshop, but otherwise this gives me a really good shot to win this game with their own hate card. Being able to play that 2-2 there is so good for them. I think I play Silent Clearing. It'll cost me maybe between 1 and 3 life over the rest of this game, but means that I'm much better against a Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, or Strip Mine next turn. Alright, they won that flip. Yet. Oh, that's a disaster. By no means am I out of this one yet. My opponent has a Mana Crypt in play, and I have the larger creature. Um, they also have an Ancient Tomb, but this is definitely scary. Opponent 2 for 2 on flips. That's super frustrating. Alright, so my spells cost 3 more to cast. Notably, Ancient Ziggurat can't tap for Mox Emerald, so this is the first time Ancient Ziggurat versus Mana Confluence has done something. My opponent has won 3 Mana Crypts in a row. It's super relevant right now. I can keep playing, I guess. Oh shoot, no, that one costs 6. I only play a 2-drop. The goal is to get a champion of the parish that is larger than their creatures, but they're going to gain 6 life a turn. I'm also honestly not sure if Inventor's Fair is just better than Ghost Quartering me when they have a 6/6 lifelinker in play. I don't know, they can go for Tabernacle, and that probably beats me anyway. Maybe that is better. Golos for Tabernacle. Ouch. can't take that with Rebooter. Can't cast this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't cast that. Can cast that. No, that costs 6. Right, the Mox got shut off. Alright. Well, I tried. GG's opponent. Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I don't think the humans decks are viable in Vintage. Because when your opponent has lands that can produce 3 mana or 2 mana or 5 to 7 mana in the cases of Tolarian Academy, your Thalia and Thorn effects, as well as your Wastelands and Strip Mines, don't go quite as far, and their creatures are all so much, much larger than like the 2/1s that we're seeing on average in this deck, or 2/2s. So I don't think those sorts of matchups are going to be good. Admittedly, opponent got a little lucky with their Mana Crypt flips, but we would have needed a lot of them to go our way in order to close out that game. It was still close. Like it was still very much a game, but I definitely feel like I was fighting from behind. The Wasteland and trying to lock them under their own sphere plan didn't work out because they ended up drawing Ancient Tomb and Workshop on the following turns. But that could have given us a window to close as well. Yeah, so overall, my impression is that if you want to mess around with this deck, it's fun. Like I really enjoyed that league, but this just feels like the least powerful thing that I've done all week in my testing for Eternal Weekend. All right, folks, I hope you're enjoying this vintage content. I am going to keep some vintage content up after Eternal Weekend is over, so if you want to do donations to see certain vintage deck lists on stream, I'm a-okay with that by all of the usual standards and metrics. Details are below the stream. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for the day. I will be back later this week. I'm not going to stream Eternal Weekend. I'm just going to play in it because the events can be pretty long. I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to someone else now.